182 days, 4,368 hours, 262,080 seconds of living with the iPhone 15 Pro. So I've got a few things that I want to talk about. So the iPhone 15 Pro is the phone that I use on a daily basis and it goes everywhere with me. So over the last 6 months, I've come to love so many of the things about the iPhone 15 Pro, and I want to dive into all of those with you right now. The brushed titanium of the iPhone 15 Pro has taken the looks to a whole new level. And whilst I think this is controversial, it looks way better than the stainless steel iPhone 14 Pro lineup. That iPhone 14 stainless steel lineup was a magnet for fingerprints, and I think, in my opinion, it actually made the phone look quite cheap. With the change of material that we had with the iPhone 15 Pro, it's actually given us a slight tweak to the design language too. And if you're like me and you don't use a case with your iPhone 15 Pro, then this is going to be one of the things that you've noticed the most with the design change, and that is the rounded edges on the phone. So now when you pick it up and you're holding it, you no longer have the edges cutting into your finger, and if you're using it on a daily basis, that's one of those things that you are genuinely going to be grateful for. The iPhone 15 Pro was so much more comfortable to hold compared to the 14 Pro. One of the biggest things for all smartphones in making them look modern is having a high screen to body ratio, and the iPhone 15 Pro has just increased ever so slightly over the 14 Pro lineup. The iPhone 14 Pro had an 87% screen to body ratio, whereas the iPhone 15 Pro has an 88.2%. It might only be an increase of 1.2%. However, having the two phones side by side, the iPhone 15 Pro clearly looks more modern and it looks a more enjoyable phone to use because it has that higher screen to body ratio. Action button. Apple's customizable button in the place of the mute switch. And for me, probably like so many of us, haven't really taken advantage of it. I still use mine to turn on and off vibration mode. So I haven't taken advantage of it at all. So many people are the same that I've spoken to, they just use it solely to turn on and off the volume. So yes, you can do lots of different things with it. Yes, you can run shortcuts. Yes, you can customize it. Yes, Apple built their own UI for just customizing the action button. But I'd love to see them go a little bit further with it. I'd love to see them do a little bit more with it, make it more customizable, and kind of do a little bit more around what people actually want from a customizable button. If you have a genius idea for what you think we should all be using the action button for, stick it in the comments down below, because if you can give me a better reason to use that action button, I'd love to know. Goodbye Lightning, and welcome to the world of USB-C. Almost. Whilst we haven't fully transitioned away from the world of Lightning in the Apple ecosystem, we've still got things like the AirPods Max and the AirPods Pro still housing that same Lightning port. We have moved one step closer thanks to Apple having to comply with EU legislation around all technology manufacturers providing just one charging port, that being the USB-C. So I think there's only one person who doesn't like the fact that that legislation's been introduced, and that is Tim Cook himself. But for all of us consumers, it is a much better solution to just have one USB-C charger that charges every device that we're possibly going to be using. It's just the convenience of having USB-C on iPhone, because I've got friends that are on Android, family members that have got Android phones, and they've had USB-C for years. So whether I'm at work or whether I'm around a family or a friend's house, now I can just say, have you got a charger? And they can chuck me that USB-C cable, and I'm charging my phone without having to go, I've got a Lightning port. It makes everything just so much simpler, the fact we can all now just share and support each other and help each other charge our devices as and when we actually need it. Having an iPhone 15 Pro in your pocket is almost as good as carrying around a full frame mirrorless camera. The image quality on all of the Pro lineup is genuinely amazing. There are so many times where I've seen people on Instagram and YouTube put mirrorless 50-60 megapixel camera quality videos up alongside an iPhone 15 Pro video, and it is so difficult to tell the difference. Same again when it comes to photography. Having a full frame mirrorless camera and an iPhone 15 Pro camera next to each other, it's almost impossible to tell the difference. Yes, if you are a photographer and you can see that subtle difference, great, well done you. But for me, for you watching, for 99% of people, it doesn't matter. We're not going to be able to see the difference, and truthfully, when the image quality looks so good, you're not looking at those minor details. The image quality for what comes out of an iPhone 15 Pro is honestly phenomenal. And if you are carrying one of them, you are going to be so pleased with the quality that comes out of it. There are going to be no complaints. Everyone's going to love it. Having the camera in your pocket with the iPhone 15 Pro just makes any situation you can find yourself in so easy to capture, and it's going to give you such amazing quality photos that it's just genuinely, like I said earlier, it's almost as good as having a mirrorless camera around your neck. If you've made it this far in the video, then you are an absolute legend. So please smash that subscribe button down below, because I appreciate every single one of you who does subscribe, and I'd love to have you come on this crazy mad YouTube journey with me. The A17 chip within this iPhone 15 Pro makes using it utterly incredible. There isn't a single thing that I've had it struggle with. I've chucked lots of different things at it, used lots of different apps where you think it might be stretched, and it just copes totally fine. So for 99% of users who are just going to be using this as a phone to go on social media, to do web browsing, to text, to call, the A17 chip is going to eat that up, and it is going to do it so comfortably. So the fact it's got the A17 chip in for 99% of users, 99.999% of users, it's going to make using that phone immaculately simple. There's going to be nothing that you can complain about when it comes to the performance of the phone with the A17 chip. Apple Silicon has been leading the way for years. The M3 chip got released at the back end of last year, but they've just released the M3 MacBook Air, and I got my hands on it a couple of weeks ago, and I've given my first impression. So if you want to check that out and see what Apple Silicon can do in a MacBook, click the link somewhere around here and go and check that video out, but stick around to the end of this video first. The battery is one of the areas where I've found this iPhone wanting a little bit. It isn't a bad battery, but it's not a great battery either. I typically find from just a normal day at work that come the end of the day I've got about 30% battery left, but at the weekend or on a day where I use it more heavily, I tend to find myself grabbing that charger at around about 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon. So it isn't horrendous, it's not shockingly bad, but at the same time that's probably one of the areas I think Apple need to try and improve on come next year. And when they release the iPhone 16 Pro, they're going to make the chip more efficient, obviously, but I'd love to see them grab a little bit more space within the chassis to make sure that they can give us that slightly bigger battery, to give us that slightly longer battery life. So I've had this phone now for 6 months, and my battery health is still at 100%. Now for me, that's mind-blowing, because I've done around about 180 cycles, if not a little bit more, on this device, and the fact it's still at 100% gives me confidence that this battery is actually going to last for a reasonable amount of time into the future. My iPhone 14 Pro was down at about 86% after a year, so I'm expecting this to comfortably exceed that, knowing that halfway through the year, before I upgrade to whatever Apple gives us in the future, that it's still at 100%, that whoever gets this phone or buys this phone off me in the future is going to have a phone that's going to last them for years to come too. So to wrap up this 6 months later with the iPhone 15 Pro, to be honest, it's an absolute belter. From the slightly tweaked design with the rounded edges making it so much more comfortable to hold on a daily basis, to the brushed titanium making the phone look so much more classy and elegant, to the USB-C, so my life is so much more convenient now that I don't have to go scrambling around for a USB-C charger if I'm around my friends or my family's homes, to having iOS 17 on the device making everything I do so cohesive and so seamless. The A17 chip absolutely destroying every task that I throw at this device with such ease and simplicity. And I truthfully can't get over how much I've enjoyed using the iPhone 15 Pro and how much I think it is a absolutely phenomenally incredible, amazingly near perfect phone. And if you're in the market for a new iPhone and you are desperate to get one right now, the iPhone 15 Pro is going to be an amazing phone, not just for now, but in 2 or 3 years' time too. So if you are genuinely in the market for one, don't look any further than the iPhone 15 Pro, because if you do decide to get it, you're going to enjoy it so much. Speak soon. Out.